my name is Mike, and this is a bike. Hello, my name is Mike, and this is a bike. Hello, my name is Mike, and this is a bike. In the last couple episodes, well, we drug it out of the weeds, we brought it home, we delved into the fuel system to find that we had a failed pump, damaged components in the tank, debris in the tank. All the fuel lines were pretty well rotted, and the fuel injectors were plugged up. So we did all that stuff. We got it where it really actually runs on its own power, and we brought it in here. Now we're going to try and make it a nice bike. We're going to tear off all the stuff that we don't want or need, and I've already taken some off, and we'll run some footage of that. And then we're going to add some stuff that we like on the bike to make it, in my opinion, more presentable, more of a victory. I've got a lot of odds and ends spare parts and containers and stuff because I'm extremely well organized. I have large bins I just throw a bunch of crap into, and when I need it, I spend hours and hours digging through it. Perfect system. Works for me anyway. Those things that I don't have, well, I look to my good friends on eBay to find them. It's a really good resource. If you know what the part numbers are of the stuff you need, well, you can punch that number in, and very often it will come up, and you can find stuff sometimes at a savings over what you would pay for at a Victory dealer. So without too much further ado, we're going to strip it down and build it back up. I got tires ordered. I got tubes ordered. We're going to make it a nice rideable bike. And hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have a nice cruiser. We can take it for a little spin. So stick around.
Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona is an old fart trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. He'll work on anything, just as long as it's got at least 2 cool wheels.
Been a while. It's been a week or two. Anyway, there's the stereo and the cobbled wiring. Lots and lots of cut, splice, scotch logs, twist locks. Yeah. Okay.
the accessories had been removed, we'd give it a thorough bath at the coin-op car wash. We can use a little bit of pressure and soap to get it off. So I got my trailer set up, hooked up to my van. I got my ramp set out, and my trailer sits in my front yard, and well, there's been a lot of weed clearing going on, and there was a little pile of weeds right at the back of the ramp. And of course, well, fresh cut weeds, they're just a little bit slippery. I've loaded this bikes hundreds of times on this trailer, but this has never happened to me before. Back tire spun out, and yeah. Fortunately, I caught it, and I was able to get it back off the ramp and get it on the trailer properly.
Well, here's where we're at. I've got the front section of the exhaust kind of laid up in there, but what I found was, well, I'm missing the flanges that hold the pipe to the cylinder head. Now, on the early bikes, it was a two-piece flange that you would take it apart, two semicircles, you'd place it around the pipe and install the nuts on the studs. Whereas aftermarket pipes and later model pipes, the flange came with the pipe. It was already assembled to the pipe, so you couldn't take the flange off unless you cut the end or something like that. So, in order for me to finish changing the exhaust on this, I've got to wait for those parts to arrive. Now, there's plenty of other things I can do while I'm waiting for those to arrive. I'm waiting for inner tubes to arrive. I briefly mentioned I had tires ordered. That was a lie. Actually, I've got some decent used tires up here, so I've got a couple of those I'm going to run on it. They've still got a few miles left on them, so I'll run those, and as long as I've got a fresh tube in there, I should be just fine. The tubes I do not trust. They've been sitting out rotting in the sun for 8 years. Now, the other thing that I need to finish my exhaust is a bracket that supports the mufflers. These are the mufflers that are going to go on it, and there's a place for them to bolt to a bracket. But unfortunately, well, I don't have that bracket. I've gone back over here through my categorized Victory parts department here. Okay, this bin is for motorcycle parts that are not Victory. This one is for Victory parts. And then I got half of the contents up here. This is my organization system. See, these are parts I already looked at. These are ones I haven't looked at yet and I'm still digging through. See, in this bin, I have mostly engine parts. And in the bin underneath the pile, well, that one's reserved for Victory transmission upgrades. So many of you are aware that the 99 through 2001, they had problems with the transmissions, and there used to be a kit to upgrade them and make them bulletproof. Well, those kits are no longer available, so I knew what the parts were, having done several of them, and I sourced those parts. I'm constantly looking on eBay to get my hands on the parts, and then they get put in that bin there. I've got enough to do probably 2 more bikes, and as I say, I'm constantly looking for parts. A lot of times I order stuff that I don't really need at this time, just to have it on hand, knowing that I will eventually put it to use, including, well, an engine block and so on and so forth. Thing that I found on eBay that I ordered, well, much to my surprise, we can still get this for our fuel system. Come on out of there, you little buggers. So if you recall, when I did the fuel tank and the fuel pump, I had to just make some tubes out of ordinary vinyl tubing. This is the correct one for the tank, and as you can see, it has a very specific shape to it to place those socks or filters right down into the sides and the corners of the tank so it draws the fuel from the bottom of the tank. So I just kind of guesstimated my own, and of course they're flexible hoses, so those pickup screens are not going to sit where I want them to. So this is going to get put in the bike. But here's the other advantage to this. I can use this to mock up a set of tubes to put on it in the future. I would still use that vinyl hose, but I can maybe use a piece of coat hanger wire, something stiff to hold it in shape. So I got that. I've got another new fuel pump, and I have the housing from that Victory hammer. So I can put these components together and have a whole nother backup fuel pump available to me in the future. Speaking of hammer fuel tanks and hammer fuel pumps, so you may have spotted these wheels in a clip I put on Facebook. And if you look at the wheels, you'll notice there's a fairly large diameter front wheel and an extremely wide back wheel. That is characteristic of both the Victory Hammer and the Victory Jackpot. Those were wide tire bikes that they built, loosely based on the steel frame that the Vegas used, but of course modified to accommodate that. I have this. This is a Victory Jackpot frame and lower swing arm. I also have the triple tree for it. So what I've been doing is just gradually accumulating parts when I find them at the right price on eBay or elsewhere, and purchase the parts and rat hole them. Now, finding parts for these bikes has become rather expensive in recent years because, well, they're getting harder to find. The salvage yards know that. They're charging more than they used to. But I am very vigilant. Every now and then something comes up at a price that I can afford. I'll grab it, I'll rat hole, I'll set it aside. Now you may ask, well, what engine will I put in the Jackpot? One. So this bike is affectionately known as Inferno. This is a bike I bought. It was just a rolling frame. It had been involved in a fire. It would burn to a crisp. There was no engine, no driveline. It was simply a frame, wheels, and handlebars. And I would love to have documented that build because, well, this is a 2005 or 2006 100 cubic inch 6-speed engine out of either a Jackpot or a Hammer. Now, with very minor modification, I was able to put it in the bike, get it drivable, get it running. But one of the problems I encountered was the fact that because it was from a wide-tired bike, well, having issues with belt pulley alignment. Now, I've inverted the pulley to make it inward more to accommodate the narrower back wheel on this bike, but the problem is it still tracks really hard off to one side. So the only way to properly remedy that is to put an engine with a shorter output shaft in this bike. So I've been browsing on eBay. I'm looking for an engine for this bike that's better suited for it. I'll remove this engine and place this engine in the Jackpot frame. So those are plans for future videos. And as far as this video goes, well, I think we're going to bring it to a stop because, once again, I'm still waiting on some parts. I do have one inner tube. I can get started on that. And again, without the exhaust clamps, I can't complete that. And there's a few other things we want to do. And in the downtime between now and the next video, as I'm waiting for those parts to arrive, we're gonna put a little bit of the old chrome polish on her and see if she'll come back. I think we'll find that a lot of this really dull, dingy looking chrome with a little love from Turtle Wax chrome polish, which is the one that I prefer. Works real well on chrome, and it's very good at removing spots and rust and stuff like that. Let's see if I can demonstrate here with a little area. I don't know if that's going to show up on video, but this stuff works. This stuff works really good. That's been my experience. So we're going to do that. We'll get the valve covers and the engine covers and all that. The pressure washer removed. A lot of crud, but there's still a lot of cleaning to do. So we're going to call it quits for this video. I try to keep my videos under half an hour. I could extend this and just wait until the next few days when the parts start to arrive, but I think it's better. We'll go ahead and we'll put this one out there, and then I'll have a part 4 with tires being replaced, exhaust system installed, and I'll have to do a little tuning on it. It's running a little rough. That Lloyd's tuner has some adjustments on it I want to look at, see if I can get this thing to dial in a little bit better, and then we'll take her out for a spin. So come on back for the next episode. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to hit the old like button if you like what I'm doing here, and subscribe if you feel it in your heart to go ahead and hit the old subscribe button. And I guess that little bell thing down there, that notification bell, I get extra credit for that. So hit that bell as well. Thanks again.